material nature are not acting. As soon as they're put into motion again, matter manifests. So, therefore, a human being is made up of two types of bodies and a soul. Do you have something to write on this?
Yeah, there's a pen down
Yeah. Okay. So there are two types of bodies. There is a subtle body made of mind, intelligence, and ego, and there's a gross body made of earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Now, one interesting thing about the gross body. If you ever went to the sun in a NASA rocket ship or a Russian rocket ship, whatever, you would never see anybody living there. Just like if you go to the moon, you won't see anybody. You know why? People are living there, on the sun, on the moon, on every planet in the universe. But their bodily composition is different than ours. On the earth, our body is principally made of water, about 70%, earth, about 20+%, and some fire, like you have hydrochloric acid in the stomach, bile, and air. But on the sun, the main constituent of the body is fire, with a little bit of earth, very little air, very little water. And on the moon, the main material element of the bodies there is mind. Therefore, just like right now, if we were sitting here 150 years ago, and I told you there's such a thing as radio waves, electromagnetic waves, and so forth, would you believe me? No. I'd say you're crazy. Now, if I ask, I'll tell you right now, right where we're sitting here, there are radio waves, electromagnetic waves, television, everything. Would you believe me?
Yeah.
Can you see them?
No.
No. So, there are many things we cannot see, but if you say they don't exist, you would be a fool today. You know they exist, but you cannot see them. In the same way, when we go to the moon, and that's debatable already, but let's say we go to the moon, we don't see anybody there, because their bodies are different than ours. And by the way, we can't stay there very long, because our body is not made in such a way as to live in that atmosphere. So anyway, you have the subtle body and the gross body. Now, the gross body made of earth, water, fire, air, ether, and space is very precarious or temporary. At the most, in this present age called Kali Yuga, or the age of hypocrisy and quarrel, which we see every day in the Senate and the Congress of the United States, because everyone is claiming they didn't do something wrong, and they're arguing that they didn't. See? So there's hypocrisy and quarrel. Anyway, in this age, we can, at the maximum, live to be about 100 years old. And most people don't. And we're going to get into that subject, why they don't. But the subtle body can exist as long as we stay in the material world. If that's hundreds and millions or billions of years, it is not destroyed. It's a much more permanent material element. It's not permanent, it's not eternal, but it's much more durable. Therefore, as long as we stay in a state of illusion, we continue changing our body, our gross body, through the medium of the subtle body. Now, the subtle body is the repository of memories, desires, and hopes and dreams. So we all have memories, we all have desires, we all have hopes and dreams, and we have attachments. Now, these attachments we develop, and they are virtually all false. For example, where is it that we actually suffer? Now, if you have a toothache, you've had toothaches, right? Could you point to the tooth that hurts? No? If you have a toothache, Can you point to the tooth that hurts? Like the dentist says, where does it hurt? Can you point to it?
Yeah.
Yes. Or if you had a broken arm, you would point to it. It hurts right here.
Yeah.
Right? Let's say you love someone and they break off, and they say, I never want to see you again. Could you point to where it hurts?
Mm,
Right. But does it hurt?
why? Yeah.
It hurts, but it's a different kind of hurt than the toothache. You see. So let me ask you a question. Where does it hurt? You love someone, like you listen to the blues. And, my baby left me all alone. Now, where is that hurt? Where's my baby hurt?
Everywhere.
Huh?
Everywhere.
Everywhere. All right. Well, we're going to be a little more localized now. We have the mind. We have the intelligence. And we have the false ego. False ego means there's a real ego also. Ego means I am. Now, according to this Vedic knowledge, if you identify that I am with something temporary, it's called false ego. And if you identify that I am with something eternal, it's called real ego. Okay? Now, does the soul, the eternal soul, ever touch matter? This is the fundamental question we have to understand. Otherwise, we can't understand my Ayurveda. The soul is eternal. Matter is temporary. The soul doesn't have to eat, sleep, mate, defend, doesn't get old, doesn't get sick, but matter goes through these stages of birth, staying, development, giving off byproducts, dwindling, and dying. The soul doesn't go through any of those stages. So, the soul doesn't ever get sick. It doesn't have to eat, doesn't have to sleep. It's not affected by matter. Therefore, the soul never actually touches matter. But yet, how does the soul touch matter? Because right now, you and I are in this world, our soul is covered by a material body, and our soul gets affected because when my baby leaves, I'm hurting. So, where is it that the soul touches matter? It's called the false ego. It doesn't actually touch, but it gets affected in the false ego. This is where we hurt the most. And the false ego means I identify falsely with something. Like, for example, let's say I buy a brand new Lexus, and I'm driving out of Barrier Motors in Bellevue, and some guy in a rainbow VW smashes right into my new car. I just bought it. And I get out and say, man, what the hell did you do that for? Let me have your license. So, hey, dude, I don't have a license. So, okay, let me see your insurance. Dude, I don't have insurance either. Now, that man gets really frustrated because he didn't insure his car yet. Because he just bought it. He was driving home to call his insurance agent. So he gets really upset, he gets hurt, he gets angry. He might even become violent. Now, did he get hurt physically? No. So what is hurting? It's the false ego. It's the false identification with the new Lexus and all the hopes and dreams and imaginative pleasures that he was going to derive from it. So this is a very subtle and strange area of the psyche of a human being. This is where the soul gets entrapped by matter, not by actually chemically mixing with it, but by falsely identifying with it. Just like, let's say you walk down the street, a young man, a young sophomore at the University of Washington walks down the street, and he sees a pretty girl. And he keeps looking at her, and he thinks, wow, she's really nice, I'd like to meet her, and if I could meet her, then we could go out, and this and that. And all of a sudden,